The talk of transparency, especially in the public sector, has long begun, even before the inception of the present administration. Now, whether conscious of this call over the years or not, the governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, recently threw a challenge to the National Assembly. And so, after 4 years of preaching the gospel of openness, Nigerians are privy to the content of the National Assembly budget, which is after 8 years. Now, the budget, which has been increased to 125 billion naira from 115 billion naira, has now started another line of discussion, and that's the line we're going to follow on this episode of Channels Beam. I'm Ini Thompson. Before we begin the discussion, however, here are the trending topics from last week.
The attack targets computers running the Microsoft Windows operating system by encrypting data and begins by demanding ransom payments in the Bitcoin cryptocurrency. Twitter also went busy on the death of Nollywood actress Moji Olaiya in Canada. She is to be buried this week in Nigeria.
So now to the business of the day. We begin our discussion on Hangout. Victor Bamishaye from Ukraine, Olusoya Babatokpe and Atiku Samuel, both from Lagos, Nigeria, are discussant. You're welcome to this session. We begin with Babatokpe. What do you think about the National Assembly's action?
In my own opinion, though, according to the way things have been happening and the way they've been running things, it's very difficult to actually say it affects us directly, because when the lawmakers are not, when they are not responsible to us, like when you can't question them, when you can't hold them to their political manifestos, abuse of power is inevitable. So, in my own opinion, talking about NAS budget, it indirectly affects us, that's as a nation, Nigeria now. But we hope we get to a situation whereby directly the civilian populace is able to actually be affected by that.
Atiku, is this release of the lawmakers' budget, is it worth celebrating, or is it just too minute for Nigerians' attention?
Well, I'll try to, yeah, it's okay to actually look at it. And then, of course, we look at it from two mirrors. Number one, for the first time since 2009, if I'm right, having a National Assembly budget, actually showing you detailed breakdown. Historically, what we've had is just that broad number, 250 billion, 225 billion, 215 billion, without really looking at the document. And we've seen incidents where the speaker actually brought out his payslip, showing some wonderful bill that will most likely not even, I wonder how he survives on that bill, living in Abuja. But now we know absolutely, what is earning and what's going to his score, which is good. So in terms of transparency, we are one step there.
Well, Victor, you Nigerians asked for the figures. Now you have it. What next?
The citizenry can never ask for too much. It's impossible for the citizenry to ask for too much. They are the contributor of the Commonwealth. And so if a group of people will now sit somewhere and say the people who are working their shoulders off, to use the word, are asking for too much, I think it's denigrating, and it's a slap on the face of the Nigerian people. 360 people or so cannot sit down and spend more than 170 something plus million. If we remove them, are spending in a year. It's rubbish. And openness is far beyond even the budget. We step forward. Openness is also talking about how to replace this say nay, say hi. That is barbaric. That is archaic. That nobody does that in this age again. For Nigeria to want to be a global competitor, we cannot keep saying hi and saying nay. there has to be an electronic voting system in the Senate. Of course, they have it, but they are not using it. And this is part of the things that openness is looking at addressing.
But okay, how do you and people like Victor intend to make this change now that you are not even in the country and yet you're so passionate about it?
Go to other countries whereby the electorate has a say in the governance of themselves. You know, it's a very sorry state, the way everything I've heard about the whole legislative arm is. You know, how can you make a budget for yourself and increase it by 10.3 billion naira? I understand that we might want to agree that, okay, they are being open and we should encourage that. But the point is just that, what are these things used for? We're talking about recession, whereby government is meant to cut costs. Instead, you are increasing your budget. You know, where is that said? Even if you want to increase your budget, what do you want to use the increment for? Is it for the people who elected you into office? How do you want to get across to them? How do you want to hear a feedback response from them? Is there a town hall meeting with the people who elected you? Those are the questions we should be asking about. You know, whether someone is honest or whether someone has a good intention by opening his books to you that, okay, I want to increase with 10 billion naira. It's not about that. Whether you want to increase or you don't want to increase, you must state clearly the purpose and the reason why you are increasing, number one. And number two, how does that affect the common trader on the street of Lagos, for example? You know, you elect people into office, today, Nigerians don't even know them. Nigerians might only know probably their state governor and the president. And these are the people that are meant to be grassroots people that are meant to go back to their own political zones and talk to them, hear the problems, and from there, if you don't know my problem, how can you solve my problem? So until that communication.
But do Nigerians make attempts to know their lawmakers or challenge them?
That's what I'm talking about, communication gap, communication difference and gap. The most important thing is that most Nigerians don't even know that these people are responsible to them. You know, there's a situation whereby we can sensitize the people, and I've said it over and over again, whereby if I don't have a power over you, you will not feel responsible to me. I have voted you into an office. I should have the same right of voting you to recall you back. And even though there's a part for that in our constitution, the people should know how to enact it. Sensitize the people. You know, until we do that, most of these legislators will tend to take us for granted. You know, the communication gap is so bad, and people should know their right, and people should be told. Not everybody went to school and can read the constitution, but people can oral, verbal communication, tell people that this is what they can do. If they don't create an avenue to speak to you, have a town hall meeting. When I mean town hall meeting, call the people in their zone, in their constituency, sit them down. What are your problems? How can we solve them? If you don't know a problem, how can you solve it? So the communication should be brought back, if it ever was. So I think the communication is bad.